In a silent forest, ancient magic waits. A chosen child hears its call, and destiny awakens. In the heart of a valley, cradled by mountains that scrape the sky, lay the village of Oakhaven. Here, cottages with thatched roofs and walls of smooth river stone huddled together like sleeping sheep. Chimneys puffed out lazy curls of smoke that smelled of pine and baking bread. The air itself seemed to hum with a quiet, ancient magic. This was the home of a young boy named Leo, whose curiosity was as vast as the forest that bordered his village. Leo was not like the other children. While they played games of tag in the cobblestone square or fished for silver-scaled trout in the chattering brook, Leo's gaze was always drawn to the Whisperwood. It was an ancient forest, a sea of emerald and gold that stretched as far as the eye could see. The elders spoke of it in hushed tones, telling tales of paths that shifted like snakes and trees that held forgotten memories. They warned the children never to venture too deep, for the woods had a will of their own. But for Leo, the forest wasn't a place of fear. It was a place of wonder. He would spend hours sitting at its edge, listening. He heard the rustle of leaves, the snap of a twig under a deer's hoof, the lonely call of a cuckoo. Yet, there was another sound, a sound that no one else seemed to notice. It was a whisper, soft as a moth's wing, that seemed to ride on the breeze. It was a language he didn't understand, but his heart felt it. The whisper seemed to come from the very trees themselves. One evening, as twilight painted the sky in shades of lavender and rose, something changed. Leo was perched on his favorite mossy boulder, watching the forest line, when a soft glow began to pulse from within the trees. It wasn't the harsh light of a lantern or the flicker of a firefly. It was a gentle, ethereal light, the color of a summer moon. That seemed to emanate from the bark of the ancient oaks and the leaves of the willows. The whispers grew stronger, clearer. They were no longer just a faint murmur, but a collection of soft, melodic voices. They called to him, not with words, but with a filling a pull of deep, peaceful curiosity. His heart hammered against his ribs, a drumbeat of excitement and a little bit of fear. The elders' warnings echoed in his mind, but the glowing light and the siren song of the whispers were too powerful to resist. Taking a deep breath, Leo slipped off the boulder. His small feet, clad in soft leather boots, made no sound on the forest floor. He stepped past the invisible line that separated the village from the wild, and the world transformed. The air grew cooler, scented with damp earth and night-blooming flowers he had never seen before. The moonlight filtered through the canopy, dappling the ground in shifting patterns of silver and shadow. The trees were magnificent. Their trunks were as wide as cottages, their bark etched with intricate, swirling patterns that pulsed with that same soft, silver-blue light. The glow moved like flowing water,
tracing paths up the massive trunks and along the sprawling branches.
As he walked deeper, the whispers surrounded him, weaving a tapestry of sound that was both calming and exhilarating. They spoke of starlight and root systems, of the turning of seasons and the slow, patient life of the forest. Leo reached out a trembling hand and touched the bark of a colossal oak. The moment his fingertips made contact, a warmth spread up his arm, and the whispers flooded his mind, clear as spoken words.
Welcome, little listener. A voice, ancient and kind, seemed to say directly inside his head. We have been waiting.
He gasped, pulling his hand back. He wasn't scared, just amazed. The light on the tree he had touched brightened for a moment before dimming back to its gentle pulse.
He looked around at the silent, glowing giants. They were alive.
Not just alive in the way all trees are, but truly, consciously alive.
They were the source of the magic he had always felt lingering at the edge of his world.
He walked on, his initial caution melting away into pure wonder. He followed a path lit by glowing fungi and luminous mosses that clung to the roots of the trees. The whispers continued, a gentle chorus that told him stories. They showed him images in his mind. A young fawn taking its first wobbly steps, a hawk soaring on a thermal high above the canopy, the slow, patient unfurling of a fern. They shared the deep, interconnected life of the forest. A network of roots and fungal threads that carried messages and shared nutrients, a secret community hidden beneath the soil. Leo learned that the trees were the guardians of the valley. They held the memories of everything that had ever happened beneath their boughs. They remembered the founding of Oak Haven, the songs of the first villagers, the long winters and the bountiful summers. They were a living library, and for the first time, someone had come to read their pages. He came to a small clearing in the heart of the woods. In the center stood a single, ancient willow, its weeping branches sweeping the ground like a curtain. Unlike the others, this tree glowed with a warm, golden light. Its whispers were the strongest, a single, clear voice that felt like the heart of the forest.
You have a kind heart, Leo. The willow's voice resonated within him.
You listen not just with your ears, but with your soul. That is why you can hear us. Leo finally found his voice, though he spoke it aloud into the quiet clearing. Why do you glow? Why do you whisper? The golden light of the willow brightened. The light is our spirit, the voice explained. The whisper is our song. We sing of life, of growth, of connection. For centuries, man has forgotten how to listen. They see us only as wood and leaf. They have grown deaf to the magic that underpins the world. But you never stopped listening. Leo sat at the base of the golden willow, feeling a profound sense of peace and belonging he had never known before. He wasn't just in the forest. He was part of it. The whispers told him that the magic wasn't just in the trees, but in everything in the stone, the water, the air, and even within himself. It was a quiet power, a gentle strength that came from being connected to the world around him.
As the first hints of dawn began to lighten the eastern sky, the golden willow spoke again. It is time for you to return, but do not be sad.
You know the way back now. The Whisperwood will always be open to you.
The glow of the trees began to soften, receding like a tide as the sun's rays pierced the canopy.
The whispers faded back into the gentle rustle of leaves. Leo stood up, his heart full. He placed his hand on the willow's trunk one last time. Thank you, he whispered. He followed the path back, and as he stepped out of the forest, the familiar sight of Oak Haven greeted him. The first wisps of chimney smoke were beginning to rise. The village was waking up. Nothing had changed. And yet, for Leo, everything was different. The world felt bigger, more magical, more alive. He returned to his small cottage just as his mother was starting a fire in the hearth. She looked at him, a question in her eyes. "You were out early," she said, her voice warm. Leo just smiled. He didn't have the words to explain where he had been or what he had seen. How could he describe talking to trees? How could he share the song of the Whisperwood? For now, it would be his secret. A beautiful, glowing, whispering secret. From that day on, Leo was a bridge between two worlds. To the villagers, he was still the quiet, curious boy. But in the forest, he was the listener, the friend of the glowing trees. He carried the forest's peace in his heart and its ancient wisdom in his mind. And sometimes, on a quiet evening, if you looked closely, you might see a boy sitting at the edge of the woods, a faint, silver blue light reflected in his wide, wondrous eyes as he listened to the secrets whispered on the wind. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the Whisperwood, don't forget to like and subscribe for more magical stories. See you next time.